Did you know that there is a food with more protein than eggs that can help fight sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass that occurs with aging? If you want to maintain your strength, health, and quality of life, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to show you what this powerful food is, why it's so good for muscle health, and how you can easily include it in your daily diet. Stay tuned until the end so you don't miss any tips. Sarcopenia is a condition that is often silent but has a profound impact on health and quality of life, especially after the age of 50. The term sarcopenia comes from the Greek sarx, meaning flesh, and penia, meaning loss. Literally, it means loss of flesh or loss of muscle mass. It is a progressive and natural part of aging in which the body begins to lose muscle and strength over the years. Although this phenomenon is common, it should not be seen as normal or inevitable, as there are ways to prevent and even reverse it in many cases. The problem is that for a long time, society has considered this muscle loss to be just a part of aging, without understanding its real consequences for autonomy, metabolism, and the overall health of the human body. From the age of 30, we begin to slowly lose muscle mass at an average rate of 3% to 8% per decade. After the age of 60, this loss accelerates. By the age of 80, a person may have lost up to 50% of their total muscle mass if nothing is done to prevent this decline. And it's not just about visible muscles, such as arms and legs. We are also talking about the deep muscles that support the spine, stabilize the joints, and control the simplest everyday movements, such as getting up from a chair, climbing a step, or carrying a bag. Sarcopenia, therefore, is not just a cosmetic problem or a problem of physical strength for intense activities. It is directly linked to mobility, functional independence, and even life expectancy. People with sarcopenia are at greater risk of falls, fractures, hospitalizations, and recovery time after surgery or illness is much slower. In addition, sarcopenia is strongly associated with other chronic diseases. Muscle loss negatively affects metabolism. Muscle is a metabolically active tissue that helps control blood glucose levels, contributes to calorie burning at rest, and participates in inflammatory and immune processes. When muscle decreases, the body tends to accumulate more visceral fat, the fat that settles around internal organs, increasing the risk of developing insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, obesity, hypertension, and cardiovascular disease. In other words, keeping your muscles active and preserved is much more than a matter of strength. It is a necessity for the proper functioning of the body as a whole. Another key point to understand is that sarcopenia is not always noticeable right away. It can develop slowly and silently, without causing pain or obvious symptoms. It is common for individuals to simply notice that they are getting weaker, with more difficulty climbing stairs, walking long distances, or even lifting objects that previously seemed light. In some cases, the first serious manifestation may be a fall, and unfortunately for many older adults, a hip fracture can mark the beginning of irreversible functional decline. Therefore, prevention should start early, long before the signs become evident. There are several risk factors for sarcopenia. Age is one of them, as already mentioned, but so are a sedentary lifestyle, poor diet, inadequate protein intake, chronic diseases such as cancer, heart failure, lung disease, and even prolonged use of certain medications. Poor nutrition, in fact, is a central factor in the development of sarcopenia. Over the years, many older adults decrease their protein intake without realizing it, whether due to changes in appetite, difficulty chewing, dietary restrictions, or even financial reasons. This directly compromises the synthesis of new muscle fibers, making it difficult to maintain lean body mass. To diagnose sarcopenia, healthcare professionals look not only at the amount of muscle mass, but also at strength and physical performance. A simple test of squeezing a hand dynamometer, measuring walking speed over a few meters, or timing how long it takes a person to get up from a chair 5 times can already indicate early signs of the condition. There are more accurate tests, such as bioimpedance and body densitometry, but often the diagnosis can be made during the clinical consultation itself with a functional assessment. The good news is that sarcopenia can be prevented and, in many cases, reversed. The key lies in 2 fundamental pillars: diet and physical exercise. Adequate protein consumption is essential, especially those of high biological value, which provide all the essential amino acids for muscle repair and building. In addition, regular resistance exercises, such as weight training, Pilates, functional training, and even activities such as climbing stairs or using elastic bands, stimulate muscle growth even in advanced ages. Studies show that older adults who start exercising gain strength, balance, and quality of life in just a few weeks. The body responds even at 70, 80, or 90 years of age, as long as it is properly stimulated. In summary, sarcopenia is a serious, growing, and often overlooked problem that goes far beyond visible muscle loss. It poses a silent threat to people's independence, metabolic health, and overall well-being, especially as they age. The good news is that it can be combated combated with simple but consistent actions, such as maintaining a protein-rich diet and exercising regularly. Recognizing the importance of muscle mass as an organ of longevity is the first step toward healthy, active, and independent aging. Protein is often remembered by those who exercise or want to gain muscle mass, but the truth is that the importance of protein goes far beyond the gym. They are undoubtedly the building blocks of our body. They are present in every cell, tissue, and organ, and most importantly, make up the structure of our muscles. Understanding the fundamental role of protein is essential to understanding how we can preserve and strengthen our muscle mass throughout our lives, especially when it comes to preventing sarcopenia and premature aging. Proteins are made up of chains of amino acids, which are like small Lego pieces that fit together in different ways to perform specific functions in the body. There are 20 main amino acids, 9 of which are considered essential, meaning that the human body cannot produce them on its own and must therefore obtain them through food. These essential amino acids are absolutely indispensable for tissue regeneration, the production of enzymes, hormones, neurotransmitters, and of course, for muscle maintenance and growth. When we talk about muscle health, we are referring to the balance between two processes that occur constantly in our body: protein synthesis and protein degradation. Synthesis is the building of new muscle fibers, while degradation is the breakdown of these fibers. When we are young and healthy, this balance is maintained with relative ease. However, as we age, especially after the age of 30, the rate of degradation tends to exceed that of synthesis, initiating a process of slow and progressive loss of muscle mass. This is where protein plays a crucial role in the diet. To stimulate muscle synthesis, the body must be provided with raw materials, that is, high-quality protein rich in essential amino acids such as leucine, which plays a direct role in activating muscle-building mechanisms. Several studies show that adequate protein intake can stimulate muscle hypertrophy, even in older sedentary people. What's more, regular protein intake helps preserve strength, balance, endurance, and immune function. Protein also contributes to feelings of satiety, helps stabilize blood sugar levels, and reduces bone loss as muscles and bones work together to support the body. Therefore, including enough protein in your daily diet is one of the most effective and accessible strategies for maintaining health and independence, especially as you age. But what is considered adequate protein intake? For a long time, the daily recommendation for healthy adults was 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. However, more recent research shows that this amount is insufficient to maintain muscle mass in people over 50 or those at risk of sarcopenia. Currently, many clinical nutrition and geriatric experts recommend between 1.2 and 2.0 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day for older adults, especially if they are exercising or recovering from illness. That means for a 154-pound person, that would be between 84 and 140 grams of protein per day, a lot more than most people eat these days. In addition to quantity, the quality of protein also matters a lot. High biological value proteins, such as those found in animal foods, eggs, lean meats, fish, chicken, milk, cheese, yogurt, contain all the essential amino acids in ideal proportions for the human body. Plant proteins, such as legumes, grains, seeds, and nuts, are also excellent sources, but they often lack one or more essential amino acids. Therefore, it is important to vary your sources and combine plant foods, for example, rice with beans, to obtain a more complete protein profile. With planning, it is perfectly possible to maintain a protein-rich diet even on vegetarian or vegan diets, but it requires attention and knowledge. Another important aspect is the distribution of protein intake throughout the day. Many people concentrate their protein consumption at lunch or dinner, which can reduce the efficiency of muscle synthesis. According to scientific literature, the ideal is to distribute protein intake across all meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even snacks, ensuring 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal, which maximizes anabolic stimulation throughout the day. This means starting the day with protein sources such as eggs, plain yogurt, cheese, or even vegetable proteins such as tofu or chickpea spreads. Finally, it is worth noting that protein intake needs to be aligned with an active lifestyle. The simple act of eating protein alone does not guarantee muscle gain or maintenance. The body needs to be stimulated through physical exercise, especially resistance training such as weight training, Pilates, functional training, and body weight exercises. When protein is consumed after exercise, the absorption and utilization of amino acids is enhanced, promoting the regeneration and strengthening of muscle fibers. This combination of a protein-rich diet and physical activity is what really protects the body against sarcopenia. For decades, eggs have been considered one of nature's most complete foods, and with good reason. Rich in high biological value proteins, vitamins, minerals, and good fats, they have established themselves as a benchmark when it comes to nutrition and muscle health. No wonder eggs are often used as a standard of comparison when analyzing the protein quality of other foods. But are they still the most prominent source of protein? Are there no foods that surpass them in both concentration and efficiency in building muscle? The answer may surprise you, and that's what we're going to explore in depth now. Eggs are truly fascinating foods from a nutritional standpoint. A single medium-sized egg contains approximately 6 to 7 grams of high-quality protein, as well as B vitamins, especially B12, which is essential for neurological function, choline, which is important for brain health, vitamin D, which aids in calcium absorption, and minerals such as iron, phosphorus, and selenium. The yolk, which for a long time was unfairly accused of raising cholesterol, is now recognized as a valuable source of fat-soluble nutrients and antioxidants such as lutein and zeaxanthin, which are essential for eye health. The white is composed mainly of water and albumin, a pure protein of very high biological value. The protein quality of a food is measured mainly by two factors: its amino acid profile and digestibility. Eggs excel in both of these areas. They provide all 9 essential amino acids in proportions that are ideal for human needs and are easily digested and absorbed by the body. This means that when you eat an egg, your body can use virtually all of the protein it contains for vital functions, including the synthesis of new muscle fibers. For this reason, eggs are often used as the gold standard in nutritional tables to evaluate other sources of protein. But despite all these qualities, eggs are not on their own the most protein-rich food per serving. And this is where we need to understand the difference between quality and quantity of protein. Although eggs have a nearly perfect protein in terms of biological value, there are other foods that offer more grams of protein per serving or per calorie. Clear examples are lean cuts of meat, chicken, fish, and especially concentrated foods such as whey protein, a supplement extracted from whey, and other plant-based foods such as textured soy and spirulina, which offer a surprising amount of protein in smaller proportions. The comparison, therefore, needs to be made with clear criteria. When we talk about protein density, that is, the amount of protein per 100 grams of food, eggs lose out to some competitors. For example, grilled chicken breast contains about 30 grams of protein per 100 grams of food, almost triple the amount found in eggs. Lean red meat and fish also surpass eggs in this regard, and even some plant foods, when concentrated, such as isolated soy protein or spirulina powder, can have higher protein densities. In addition, it is important to consider the satiety and metabolic role of different foods. Eggs, because they have a good balance of protein and fat, help prolong satiety and control appetite. This makes them an excellent food to include in breakfast or as a snack between meals. However, for muscle hypertrophy or to combat sarcopenia, it may be necessary to increase daily protein intake more significantly, and that's where more protein-concentrated foods come in, which can deliver more of the nutrient with less volume or fewer calories. It is also worth remembering that how eggs are prepared can influence both their digestibility and nutrient utilization. Boiled eggs, for example, preserve the integrity of nutrients without adding extra fat. Fried eggs, on the other hand, can significantly increase the calories in a meal depending on the type and amount of oil used. The ideal is to vary the ways you prepare eggs and integrate them into balanced meals with good sources of fiber, vegetables, and healthy fats. Even compared to foods with higher protein density, eggs remain a true ally in the daily diet, especially because of their convenience, affordability, and complete nutritional profile. They can be part of any meal, from a hearty breakfast to a light dinner. They can be combined with other protein foods, forming a powerful synergy for muscle maintenance. For example, scrambled eggs with tofu, tuna omelets, or boiled eggs with a grain salad are highly nutritious, protein-rich meals. Therefore, we can safely say that eggs are indeed a benchmark for protein quality, but they are not irreplaceable or unbeatable in terms of quantity. There are foods with more protein per serving that can and should be strategically included in the diet, especially for those who want to fight sarcopenia, gain muscle mass, or maintain a more active and healthy lifestyle. The secret lies in variety, balance, and knowledge. Knowing how to combine different sources of protein, both animal and plant, is the key to truly effective nutrition. Now that we understand the vital role of protein in muscle maintenance and recognize eggs as a true model of protein quality, it's time to reveal the food that, surprisingly, contains even more protein per serving than eggs themselves. And believe it or not, this food not only surpasses eggs in protein density, but also offers a host of additional health benefits, especially for those looking to combat sarcopenia, maintain lean mass, and strengthen the body as a whole. The food in question is an old acquaintance in the world of sports nutrition, but it has been gaining more and more prominence among the elderly, people in rehabilitation, and anyone who wants a more active and healthy aging process. We are talking about lean meat, especially grilled chicken breast. Yes, chicken breast is one of the most protein-rich foods per gram, and the most interesting thing is that it offers this with very little fat and almost no carbohydrates. In 100 grams of cooked or grilled chicken breast, we have about 30 to 32 grams of pure protein. That's almost 3 times more protein than in a single egg, which provides around 6 to 7 grams per egg. Most importantly, this protein is also of high biological value, meaning it contains all the essential amino acids in ideal amounts, making it extremely efficient for muscle tissue regeneration and building. Chicken breast has other advantages as well. It is a light meat that is is easy to digest and absorb, which promotes the bioavailability of nutrients. It also has a very lean lipid profile, that is, it contains little fat, which makes it ideal for those who need a high protein intake without adding excess calories to their diet. This feature is especially useful for people with slower metabolisms, such as the elderly, or for those seeking to maintain or reduce their body fat percentage. In addition, chicken is an extremely versatile protein in the kitchen. It can be prepared in a variety of ways: grilled, boiled, shredded, roasted, and goes well with a multitude of vegetables, grains, and natural seasonings, making it easy to include in balanced meals. To give you a practical idea, if an adult needs to consume about 100 grams of protein per day to maintain or increase muscle mass, approximately 330 grams of chicken breast would be enough to achieve this goal, a totally feasible and practical amount. Comparatively, to get the same amount of protein from eggs, you would need about 14 to 15 eggs, which is not always convenient or appropriate from a caloric and digestive standpoint. This does not mean, of course, that eggs should be avoided, but rather that chicken can be a more concentrated and effective source, especially for those who need faster results or face dietary restrictions. In addition to chicken, it is worth mentioning that other lean meats such as beef duckling and some fish also have high protein density. Tuna, for example, contains about 26 to 28 grams of protein per 100 grams and is an excellent option for varying the menu. Lean red meat such as ground beef offers between 24 and 26 grams of protein in the same serving. All of these foods are rich in essential amino acids, and when consumed as part of a balanced diet, they play a key role in preventing sarcopenia and maintaining muscle strength over the years. However, it is important to note that not all meat is the same. Processed meats such as sausages, hot dogs, ham, and cold cuts in general should not be included in the same group of healthy foods, even if they contain protein. They are usually high in sodium, chemical preservatives, and saturated fats, which can harm cardiovascular health and increase the risk of chronic diseases. It is always best to choose fresh, minimally processed meat that has been prepared in a healthy way, avoiding fried foods, breaded items, and industrialized sauces. Another important point is that chicken, being an easily accessible and low-cost meat in most countries, is an excellent option for people of all social classes who want to improve their protein intake without breaking the bank. This accessibility is crucial to making a protein-rich diet a viable and sustainable strategy in the long term. In fact, many public health guidelines already recognize chicken as one of the main sources of protein recommended for nutritionally at-risk populations. Furthermore, when we combine regular chicken consumption with an active lifestyle, including muscle-strengthening exercises such as weight training or functional training, the results are even more evident. Muscle protein synthesis is highly sensitive to the presence of amino acids in the blood, especially after training. In other words, eating a powerful protein source such as chicken right after exercise can boost muscle mass gains, improve recovery, and prevent muscle atrophy, which is so common in older adults. It is important to emphasize that although chicken is an excellent source of protein, dietary variety remains essential. No single food is complete enough to provide everything the body needs. The ideal is to put together a balanced diet that combines different sources of protein, such as eggs, fish, lean meats, legumes, and dairy products, with a good amount of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and healthy fats. This way, you ensure you get all the nutrients you need to keep your muscles, bones, brain, and heart working in harmony. Chicken breast, in addition to being an exceptional source of high biological value protein, as we saw in the previous topic, goes far beyond the simple function of feeding your muscles. Its nutritional value is not limited to building muscle or fighting sarcopenia. It is a complete functional food full of health benefits in various areas of the body. By including it regularly in your diet, you can reap a host of benefits that directly affect your metabolism, immunity, cardiovascular system, weight control, and even your mental state. Yes, nutrition is much more complex and interconnected than you might think, and foods like lean chicken have a profound impact on the body when used wisely. To begin with, it is worth highlighting the role of chicken breast in regulating energy metabolism. As a lean, low-calorie, and nutrient-dense protein, it helps increase the thermic effect of food, which is the amount of energy the body expends to digest and metabolize what has been consumed. Digesting protein requires more energy than carbohydrates or fats, which means that meals with chicken help speed up metabolism temporarily and optimize energy expenditure, an important advantage for those seeking weight control or body fat reduction. In addition, proteins such as chicken increase satiety for longer, which naturally leads to lower caloric intake throughout the day, promoting weight loss or maintenance of ideal weight in a healthy way without restrictive diets. Another often overlooked benefit is the impact of chicken on hormonal regulation and neurological health. Chicken breast is a good source of tryptophan, an essential amino acid that serves as a precursor to serotonin, the neurotransmitter known as the feel-good hormone. Serotonin is involved in regulating mood, appetite, sleep, and even pain perception. In other words, a diet with good sources of tryptophan, such as chicken, can help improve mood, reduce symptoms of mild anxiety, anxiety, and even improve sleep quality. In addition, chicken contains significant amounts of vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine, which is essential for nervous system function, hormonal balance, and neurotransmitter production. For older adults, who often experience fatigue, mood disorders, or cognitive changes, this type of nutritional support is especially valuable. From a cardiovascular standpoint, chicken breast also offers important benefits. As a white meat with low levels of saturated fat, especially when compared to red meat cuts, it contributes to lowering LDL cholesterol, known as bad cholesterol, when part of a balanced diet. Replacing processed or very fatty meats with lean sources such as chicken has been recommended by several international health guidelines as an effective measure in preventing heart disease and high blood pressure. It is worth remembering that chicken also contains selenium, a mineral with strong antioxidant properties that protects cells against oxidative damage and contributes to the health of the immune system and the thyroid, a gland that is crucial for metabolism. Another relevant aspect is the impact of chicken breast on the body's immune response. When consumed in adequate amounts, high-quality protein strengthens antibody production, aids in tissue formation and regeneration, and maintains the integrity of the intestinal barrier, which is the primary line of defense of our immune system. Chicken also provides zinc, another mineral essential for the proper functioning of the immune system, with a direct role in wound healing, cell multiplication, and defense against viruses and bacteria. At a time when immunity has become a constant concern, having a clean, safe, and nutritious protein source such as chicken breast in your diet is a major advantage. In addition to all these points, chicken is also an excellent choice when we think about convenience and accessibility, two factors that are often overlooked but make all the difference in sticking to a healthy diet on a daily basis. Because it is easy to prepare, store, and combine with other foods, chicken makes efficient nutrition simpler and possible for people of different ages, routines, and financial conditions. It can be quickly grilled, shredded in a salad, used in dishes with vegetables or grains, or even included in soups, homemade frozen meals, and healthy lunch boxes. This versatility helps maintain dietary consistency, a decisive factor for those seeking real and sustainable changes in their health. And we can't forget to mention the preservation of physical functionality that chicken breast provides in the long term. For those who are aging or preparing for healthy aging, maintaining the ability to move independently, get up without help, walk steadily, climb stairs, and perform everyday tasks without limitation is one of the greatest riches one can have. And that depends on strong muscles, a balanced metabolism, adequate energy, and well-functioning internal systems. In this context, chicken is not just a food, it becomes part of a strategy for preserving autonomy, dignity, and quality of life at all stages of life. Knowing that chicken breast is a superfood rich in protein and full of health benefits is important, but it's not enough. The real transformation happens when we are able to apply this knowledge in a practical way in our daily lives. After all, there is no point in knowing that a food is powerful if it is not present in meals in a consistent, accessible, and enjoyable way. The good news is that chicken is one of the most versatile foods in our food culture. It can be prepared in countless ways, adapts to different diets from the simplest to the most elaborate, and can be included in virtually any meal from breakfast to dinner. In this topic, we'll explore how to make chicken breast a true ally, accessible and practical, even for those with limited time or cooking skills. The first key tip is to prepare the chicken in advance and in large quantities. One of the biggest barriers to eating healthily every day is lack of time. Therefore, a simple and effective strategy is to cook a larger quantity of chicken breast once or twice a week, storing the ready-made portions in the refrigerator or freezer. Cooking, grilling, or roasting whole chicken breasts and then shredding, slicing, or cubing them makes it much easier to put together quick meals. This saves time and ensures you always have a quality protein ready to add to salads, wraps, rice and bean dishes, soups, or various side dishes. The technique of meal prep, that is, preparing meals in advance, is widely used by those who want to maintain a balanced diet, even with their busy daily routine. Another essential point is to vary the way you prepare food to avoid boredom. Many people end up getting tired of chicken because they only know the grilled, dry, and unseasoned version. However, with a little creativity and natural seasonings, chicken can take on completely different flavors with each meal. You can season it with fresh herbs such as rosemary, thyme, parsley, and cilantro. Use marinades with lemon, garlic, onion, ginger, or turmeric, or even incorporate spices such as paprika, curry, cumin, or black pepper. The use of light sauces, such as plain yogurt with herbs or a honey mustard sauce, can also transform a simple chicken fillet into a delicious meal. These variations make frequent consumption much more enjoyable, which is essential for maintaining dietary consistency over time. Chicken breast can also be included in meals other than traditional lunch and dinner. For example, for breakfast, you can make a protein pancake with shredded chicken and oats, or an omelette with diced chicken and chopped vegetables. For snacks, small portions of shredded chicken with vegetables, or even homemade pâtés made with chicken, olive oil, and natural seasonings can be great options that are rich in protein protein and low in carbohydrates. For those who take lunch to work, chicken can be combined with brown rice, quinoa, sweet potatoes, raw or sautéed salads, creating complete, nutritious, and easy-to-transport meals. A valuable tip is to use chicken as a base for recipes that would normally be made with fattier or less healthy meats. Instead of making meatballs with red meat, how about making chicken balls with oats and grated carrots? Instead of industrialized breaded chicken, how about baking chicken with a seed or chickpea flour crust? With these small substitutions, you maintain flavor and satisfaction, but with a much more balanced nutritional profile. Chicken can also replace ground beef in pasta sauces or pie fillings, resulting in light, protein-rich recipes. For those who follow a diet with specific restrictions, such as low-carbohydrate diets for weight loss or glycemic control, chicken is even more valuable. It can be included in low-carb recipes, such as chicken curry with zucchini, sautéed chicken with broccoli and mushrooms, or lasagna made with layers of chicken and vegetables instead of pasta. In flexible vegetarian diets, ovo-lacto-vegetarianism, chicken can be used as the main source of animal protein, ensuring the necessary intake without resorting to red meat, if applicable. Another important aspect is the role of chicken in the diet of older adults, especially those who have difficulty chewing, digesting, or have lost their appetite, because it is a tender meat, especially when cooked properly. Chicken breast can be easily shredded and included in purees, broths, soups, and meals with a smoother texture. This ensures that older adults get quality protein without having to work hard to eat. During recovery from surgery or illness, when the body needs more nutrients and appetite is reduced, small, concentrated portions of shredded chicken can make a huge difference in muscle recovery and immune response. Finally, it is essential to remember that chicken, although very nutritious, should not be consumed alone. The ideal diet is one that combines good sources of protein with fiber, healthy fats, and micronutrients from vegetables, grains, and fruits. Chicken breast should be part of a varied and colorful diet, respecting each person's individuality, tastes, and culture. It is also important to pay attention to the origin of the meat, opting, whenever possible, for chickens from ethical farms without excessive antibiotics or hormones, valuing the health and sustainability of the food system as a whole.